Yes, they're all looking. Action!
Carry On Up the Jungle is number 19 in the never-ending line of carry-on box office hits that have become a phenomenon in British filmmaking. Their pig's bladder philosophy has survived and even converted the critics. And year after year, the same faces churn out the same old gags, and the audiences love it. In Carry On Up the Jungle, Frankie Howerd replaces regular team member Kenneth Williams. Sid James is back again, so are Bernard Bresslaw and Kenneth Connor, Joan Sims, and there's newcomer Jacki Piper. And, of course, there's always Charles Hawtrey.
My name is Tonka, and to that the natives add Siggy up your, you know, which I do, incidentally, and I'm father of countless.
It's such a tangled plot that it would take a long time, and I don't know, what I do is I go through all my bits and learn those and hope that they fit in somewhere.
Lift yourself out.
Bernard Bresslaw has an equally felicitous name as the native tracker Upsy Daisy, a name dredged up by Carry On scriptwriter Talbot Rothwell. Completing the team are the producer Peter Rogers and Gerald Thomas, who's directed all 19 Carry On films.
Well, our films really started, as you say, by accident. We had a script given to us of an army comedy, which nobody else seemed to want. And Peter Rogers and myself decided it would make a funny picture. So we knocked it into shape, and the distributors liked the picture but didn't like the title. So they changed it in conference to Carry On Sergeant.
Went and saw Carry On camping in Blackpool one afternoon. I was up there for a summer season. I've never heard anything like it. First of all, you couldn't get into the cinema. You just couldn't. I just happened to know the manager, and I went and stood at the back. But I've never heard such laughter.
Well, we've basically tried to make broad, bawdy, if you like, even vulgar humour, which has a family appeal, and which at the same time never actually takes the mickey out of the institution, but only the people in it. We don't want to make people frightened of hospitals and policemen and firemen, but we don't mind taking the fun out of the actual policemen themselves. We've built up a team of artists which are really almost a repertory team, but they are interchangeable. None of them are really indispensable, though I would hate to lose any of them, but we do change them from time to time, and occasionally we bring in a newcomer just to give it a bit of a spark or a bit of life.
The lovely thing really is that in the carry-ons you get a chance to sort of play all sorts of roles, you know, which is great fun.
Well, I played a hell of a lot of different roles, but they're all me, with different hats on.
Well, I became involved first of all with Carry On Cowboy, which excited me immensely because I think every actor, or actress for that matter, wants to play in a cowboy film. And I was a bit disappointed at first because I'd hoped to play a cowboy, naturally, but I found myself playing an Indian, which was a great disappointment not only to me, but to my son, who had found himself with divided loyalties, you see, because he knew that normally, in most cowboy films, the cowboys end up winning, but he rather had to sort of hope that this time he'd cheer for the Indians.
The pictures are so successful and a big hit in Japan, and they had to queue up in Los Angeles and in India, believe it or not.
The lovely thing with the carry-ons is, of course, it's like coming back to school after the holidays, because you know the people that you're working with, and as you get to know them, of course, your timing becomes that much tighter. And there's just a very happy atmosphere.
Well, it's like getting back into the fold, getting back into a little sort of film-type crazy gang. And therefore you're all friendly. You don't have to establish relationships. We all know who plays cards well. And we all know who likes bacon sandwiches first thing in the morning. That's Joan Sims. And so it's like going back into the fold.
There's no tension at all. No tension at all.
You earn the money quicker because it's a shorter schedule. Gives you time to get onto something else, which I like.
And of course, one gets the chance in spare time to have a little card game going, which also helps to ease tension, providing you're winning, of course.
It's so professionally done. Everyone, right through every facet, carpentry, props, mechanics, electrics, everything, they know where they are. It's like a well-run ship. They're in, out, the job's done. Tons and tons of shots done during the day. Have you seen the jungle today? Well, I mean, it looks so realistic on the rushes. You begin to wonder why people decide to go away to Ceylon on location to make a film when it can be done like this.
I always feel sorry for a newcomer because he feels strange, because it is really like coming into somebody's family. But we've never ever had any trouble with newcomers, really, because we just belt them.
But they've all been very, very welcoming and kind and helpful, and it's been super. And I've learned a lot from them.
If you're no good, you won't do another one.
There is just a very much sort of give and take with the team, which I think comes over in the films, that there isn't anyone really sort of trying to hog the scene at all.
No, the competition is murder. You just got to look after yourself. I just make a habit of sort of playing against the others. And because I'm not strictly a comic. I'm not a comic at all. These other blokes are comedians. I'm more of a sort of reactor. So I let them do it, and then I throw a couple of counter punches. That's all I can do.
I played a sergeant in the very first Carry On Sergeant, I think. Then I played the sergeant major in Up the Khyber, and then I played the businessman in Camping who had a wife who never took any notice of him, whatever he said. So he said the most revolting things, and she took no notice whatsoever and kept on talking.
Gerald Thomas, our director, is as responsible as anybody for the success of the films. He's directed them all. He keeps us in order, quite rightly. We have to do what we're told. And we discuss everything together as friends would. And he's got firm hand over the controls.
He'll let you have just enough of your head to make it so that you don't run riot, because, you know, there is a great tendency among most actors to do too much, if allowed to.
The one thing that he likes to do is to film fairly quickly. And as you know, filming sometimes takes months on these great epics. And a lot of time is spent hanging around, as you noticed, waiting to work. Whereas if you work quickly, you go bum, 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 and you do your scenes, you keep this air of spontaneity going. And I think this is what comes over in the Carry On films, this kind of spontaneous air. I'm the pretty one. I'm here for a little sex appeal. That's why I'm brought in. Me and Joan Sims, poor soul.
Our scriptwriter, Talbot Rothwell, has an enormous fund of gags. I think he has a Victorian gag book at home. And, you know, basically our pictures are of the same format, with the same people. Different locales and different incidents that happen, but basically it is a formula which the public expect.
Gerald Thomas, he played a pretty vile trick on me one day. It was in Carry On Regardless, and I had to do this supposed wine tasting, and so they set up the shot the night before, and they said, right, we're ready to shoot at 8:30 in the morning when you come on the set. So we did a quick little run, you see, and Jerry said, that's fine, love, just like that. He said, now, right, props, bring in the wine, which looked just like water, you see. And so he said, right, action. And I took an enormous gulp of this, and it was neat gin at 8:30 in the morning. And of course, I didn't stop acting because I wasn't going to be thrown by this. Jerry said, that's marvellous. He said, we'll never get a better reaction than that.
Very interesting.
I think the audiences of Carry On films, they're growing, but the nucleus is the same, and they know how to shut up when the funny line's been said, and they can almost smell when the next one's coming, and they don't laugh through many laughs. You can work pretty fast on a Carry On film, whereas possibly in other films you're inclined to have to wait and imagine, will they laugh? Whereas in a Carry On film you're pretty certain they will laugh. They're well trained.
And although it would appear to be full of comedians who are sort of almost slapstick most of the time, nevertheless we stick rigidly to the script. It's virtually a Bible, and there's very little deviation from it. So we know exactly when we start how long it's going to take and where we're going to go from there.
And it's really like the sort of Thomas McGill seaside postcard, isn't it, really? Good, clean, bawdy, dirty humour.
You see, the thing is, they make it look easy, and that's the clever thing. That's the clever thing, to make it look easy. No, I admire them very much.
Well, it's just sheer entertainment. Just sit back and giggle.